here with the Brandon Mig. How would you like to be referred to? Brandon Mig or Minyaka? What's their title of choice for today?
I had a few nicknames back in my day.
Sure.
The Migarino, the Migs, B-Mig. But please just call me Brandon.
Will do. No problem. So I was looking at your Spotify recap for the year.
Oh.
Some pretty impressive numbers up there this year.
I am super, super honored and super blessed. It's crazy. Those numbers, like it's fun to see, like I guess like analytics when they show up, you know, with anything probably. But it's cool that they do like this wrapped thing to kind of just go and be like, hey, look, this is all of your successes in one big swoop, and it feels good to see it all, you know, just there all in front of you and be like, hey, wow, so this is what it is.
Yeah, and it's not insignificant either. Over 1 million streams on the two singles that you released.
Exactly.
To radio here in Quebec. So just to introduce for those who may not be aware of the magnificent Brandon yet, you have a solo career, have released two singles to Canadian radio.
Yeah.
Is it just in Quebec or is it Canada?
Well, it's Quebec radio more so. I mean, we actually do have Best I'll Never Have in some like Ottawa radio stations, which is super cool. But it's primarily Quebec if we're considering strictly radio.
Cool. So what's your experience been like having released two singles now?
Pretty cool. Put it lightly, I guess. No, to be fair, no, it's crazy. It's super cool. It's once again, it's cool to see how, like, when I guess when the success is kind of showing how much it interacts and how much it interacts with people, you know, where it goes, where it leads, because the song kind of takes a mind of its own and just kind of travels wherever it travels, you know, especially like putting it onto like Spotify and other radio stations and stuff like that. You get to see like how far and how many people get touched by it. So to have those two songs be pretty decently successful, at least within the Quebec industry, is super cool. But also on internet scale with Spotify and other streaming services, it's insane.
So how many streams did you get this year in total?
So in total, I think it was like around 1.6 or 1.7 million, which is,
it's quite something, man.
It's crazy.
Thank you. That's impressive.
Thank you so much.
And they're not streams from Malaysia or whatever, like you see some artists
we get
up with on their Spotify
that's
recaps.
It's everywhere, you know, and you see like those few little stragglers in like random places, like I don't know, like two people in Zimbabwe or something like that. So it's cool, you know. It's like it makes you wonder, like, how did you grab a hold of this song? Like what brought you to that there, you know? Like
it'd be cool if you could reach out to those people, like those two people in Zimbabwe that listen to your song, and just message them personally and be like,
exactly,
that would be awesome.
No, that would be super cool. Sadly, I don't get the analytics of like personal information, which I think is safer, to be fair. But
true.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. So and on the radio, it's been a number one single. Best I'll Never Have has been. What about Faded? Is that
so currently Faded is around, it's wavering in and out of the top 10. So by any standard, that is also a complete great success. So I'm still super grateful about it. And I mean, that's the thing. Best I'll Never Have was a bit of a freak of nature and how it kind of just popped up. It was, I guess, just perfect timing, the perfect song for that specific season and everything, and it just held its stay like very well. Right now, I find Faded is combating, well, right now since the Christmas season, is combating against Christmas songs. So it has a bit of a dip right now because of that. But we'll see. I mean, eventually, once the Christmas season is over, there's going to be more of your usual pop songs that are going to come back into the fray, and we'll see how it fares then, if it goes up or if it goes down. But the thing is, it's kept inside the top 10 for a few weeks. So, I mean, once again, still an awesome success, and it's following more of like the typical lifespan of a song, at least on Quebec radio. So
So do you have your plan kind of laid out for 2020 as far as your solo stuff, or what are you thinking about?
So I've been speaking to my team, and one thing I really want to do is I want to release more songs. I mean, it was very successful to release just one song per year, but that's one song per year. Like ideally, I would like to release a lot more, and I think the platforms that we have at our disposal, like these streaming services, allow us to be able to release music more and more often. And I'm starting to see it a lot with a lot of pop artists as well. They're releasing music every few months, just because now the whole kind of like the album strategy is kind of broken down and people are doing single by single, right? So I think it's giving more people the chance to kind of be expressive with individual songs rather than of the full conception of an album, which is also really cool. So that's my intention, to just release as much music as possible. Already went in studio to record a few new tracks, and I'm also gonna try my hand at just producing and recording my own tracks as well. So yeah, that's kind of like my goal for 2020, and also to see if I can start getting like a few shows now that I'll have at least a bit of a basis of like a repertoire of songs.
Have some original material to actually play and not have to lean too heavily on like the
Yeah,
cover songs and whatnot.
exactly. No, that's it. I mean, it's been fun doing the covers, and I'm still gonna do a few. It's just it can be time consuming because I have to. I don't want to just do covers. I want to like reproduce and make them like extremely special and
Make them your own.
exactly.
sense.
So I put a little too much effort into them sometimes, and I'm like, well, I should be putting more effort into my own music. So
I think it's worth it either way. You're creating something new, whether you're
totally.
working off of something that people already know or just crafting your own music. I think
Yeah.
they're both valuable.
That's it. I mean, the few shows that I've done so far, what's really cool is that like the crowds that I've been playing have been very mixed in age. And I really like taking older classic tunes and trying to remodernize them with more of a modern pop production. So, for example, like I took the song Shout by Tears for Fears, which like all of the older generation, they loved it. And the newer generation was like, whoa, what is this cool beat, So I think I'm able to kind of tap into a larger audience that way, and they really appreciate it. And they kind of wonder, oh, what's the next cover song? What's the next cover song? So
By taking classic songs and modernizing them, you can appeal
exactly,
to both, I guess,
exactly.
demographics, like both age ranges.
Well, that's it. That's I think it's fun. It's fun to revisit cover songs that way for me than to just kind of play them through straight. It breathes new life into them, and it always keeps it fresh for the listener because I'm sure they've heard the song thousands or hundreds of times, and it's always fun to kind of be the person that's just like, oh, look at this little difference. So yeah, no, that's super fun, and I do want to continue doing that, and I think it'll be a cool kind of challenge as well, just in general.
I'm sure some people recognize you from La Voix when you do gigs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it does happen. It does happen, and it's always weird when it happens because it's like I'm just not used to kind of like being recognized for that in particular. But at the same time, it's humbling too.
Yeah.
So super cool.
And just another explanation for anybody who doesn't know, La Voix is like the French Canadian version of The Voice.
The voice.
The Voice.
Yeah, it's the voice. Mm-hmm.
So what's how is your experience on the show kind of guided you into, because
Ooh.
you kind of, I think, decided that you wanted to pursue a solo career outside of the band, which I'll talk about the band a little bit in a bit, but like you knew that you wanted to do a solo thing before auditioning for La Voix, right?
Well, here's my issue, Mr. Rob. I love making music in all facets of music. And so I always get these thoughts where I'm just like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But I kind of don't want to break away from the purity of some of the groups or projects that I'm in just because I feel like they do something really good. And if I try to change that, I like personally can't work that way, I guess. So there's been like countless of times where I'm like, oh, I want to be like a masked electronic producer, or oh, I want to do this jazz thing, or oh, I want to do like this pop stuff. So to be fair, actually, when I was looking into the voice and everything, I didn't think about it that much until afterwards when it became a viable option. For the longest time, I loved pop music. There's like no doubt about it. Pop music, electronic music, and I was always trying to find a way to do it. And like even with our band, I was always trying to figure out like how can we incorporate electronic elements.
Yeah, from the very beginning too, and even pop stuff. Like there's even some of our heavier songs have these, pop melodies,
Yeah,
woven throughout them
that's it.
that I love, and it's something that I've always appreciated about our music too.
Yeah, it's that's the thing, right? We grew up in such a way where we were influenced by so many different things, and it's always fun to see how it kind of like all wrapped all into one nice package. But I think my only issue was over the years, I always had this stigma in my head where I felt like we need to have some kind of pop or we need to have some kind of thing like that. But I think now that there's this division, at least mentally for me, creatively, it's way easier to be able to just be like, screw it, let's just write whatever the heck we want. And then
Get
it just,
crazy.
yeah, exactly, get crazy, which I think is going to be, as you know already, a nice thing that we're
Yes,
going
I
to
do
concentrate
know.
on.
I do know because I am very excited about the things we've been working on,
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
really looking forward to next year and releasing
me
new
too.
Chair Warriors music. Our band that we've been in for like a decade now, Chair Warriors. There will be a new album coming, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's underway, and I'm really enjoying the stuff that we've been writing and recording over the past
That's it.
several weeks. It's gotten me very excited. I like the direction it's taking, and you're totally right. Not having any pressure to make our music too accessible and just kind of do whatever is satisfying to us is very liberating.
Oh,
And yeah, I love it.
that's it. And I think, considering like how our lives have been going into all of these different paths and stuff, you being now like a father and married to the wonderful Amanda, um, we all have like these kind of, well, we all have priorities, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool, and I mean, it's nice to know that we're all on the same page when we see where Chair Warriors has gone and where it's going, right? It's like now it feels like there's a lot more passion in it, in many ways.
I feel like the fact that we're still going strong after this long, and the fact that the three of us are such different people is kind of like an anomaly. I don't know. It's like this perfect storm where we are all so different. Okay?
Yeah, super different.
In age, in just lifestyle wise, just everything. Like, I guess I've become like the family guy of the group, with the, settling down in a sense, with getting married, having a kid. You're pursuing a solo career,
Yep.
which is taking on a life of its own. So you're doing this. Now you're setting up a recording studio of your own, which is fantastic too. So you're all in on the music lifestyle.
Full on.
Gopal is also all in on the music lifestyle, but he's doing it like a punk rock, like play as many nights of the week as possible with as many bands as possible type thing.
It's really interesting,
and we can still make it work. We just there's this cohesion between us that I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
I've been thinking about it a lot actually, because I have a few friends in bands that we used to play with, where like I'd ask them like what happened, and everything like that. And usually it's a battle of egos and it's a battle of like emotions, which is understandable. I mean, a lot of these bands that we knew, they started out as like just close friends in school, I mean, in a weird, fortunate way, the fact that we didn't really know each other and grew our friendship through the band, I think was to our benefit,
as opposed to being friends who started playing music with each other afterwards.
Exactly, because I mean, the thing is that if you're a group of friends and you now like partake in this new thing, there's a whole new side of that person you're going to see. It's like starting a relationship, like a full relationship, So in our way, it's that we only got to experience exactly who we are when we play music.
It's
and
what we do
adapted.
together.
That's it.
You know,
Exactly.
that's what it is.
That's
it's
what
music.
it is. That's it. And yeah, and the thing is, we're all, well, I don't know about me. I find you guys are all super mature. Like you, you and Gopal are so mature.
You have your own sense of maturity.
Yeah,
too.
it's a weird one, but it's there, I guess. Yeah. Nah, oh man. I feel so bad over the years. Like I still remember like some of these times where I accidentally like overslept for practice and was late. Like,
And like the other day when you overslept and
yeah,
we were supposed to come do this with me like 2 days ago, but the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Damn it. I tried so hard.
But it's okay. That's what makes you you.
Well, the fact that you guys are completely, I guess, accepting of the fact that I'm like this is, well, I'm super happy about it. I'll never try to overstay my welcome, but it's going to be difficult to fully change. I'm working on it.
That's okay. We all have things that we can work on.
Yeah.
at least yours is fairly harmless.
Just oversleeping.
Yeah, you're not killing anybody. So
good.
So what I really wanted to talk to you about today is it's about something that you kind of like sparked in me when we were recording some interview questions for the Sound Mojo thing that, well, it's basically a sort of online record label that we're doing work with.
Yeah.
And everybody should check them out, by the way. Sound Mojo on YouTube and all the social media platforms. Great platform for discovering new music, all about helping indie bands and artists, which is fantastic. Such a noble cause. And we don't have enough of that. So it's like a very unique thing. And I think everybody should check it out and support that if you can.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that we were each answering was, what is a social issue that you're passionate about? And you kind of gave an answer that was unexpected to me, which was mental health, because totally important, but I didn't realize that you were actually very invested in that idea. But then it made so much sense when I thought about it, because I know that you have gone to these meditation retreats for 7 or 10 days or however long, which to me is amazing and something that I would love to do if I was able to like get away from my regular life for that amount of time.
Yeah.
Which would be difficult, but it just got me thinking about the relationship between creativity and mental health and how important it is to have balance in your life. And as somebody who, you're probably the most creative person that I know, like I'll be straight up about that.
Thank you.
Like, what is that relationship between being mentally healthy and being a creative person? Like, there must be a number of connections between them. So what are your feelings about that?
Well, the way I see it is that having like a healthy mental state just promotes like a healthy positivity, like a good positive mental state, right? And when it comes to anything creative, creativity is about the expression of emotion, and learning how to not tame but flow with your emotions properly, I think, is a super important thing. So that's where the mental health plays its part, like drastically. Because if you can learn to control your emotions, control your sense of rationality, and more so understand it and be aware and like flow with it properly, then creativity comes back tenfold, And what's the beauty about it is that, like, in these meditation retreats, I was surprised and realized that like meditation in many ways is the art of focusing, and it's a meta skill that you can develop, like this idea of focusing. And I've always had like difficulties with focusing in general. So having this ability made it a lot easier. And when you learn how to focus, it allows you to concentrate on the tasks at hand more so. And creativity is also considered a skill. So it means that there's time that needs to be invested and hours that need to be put into it and strictly put into it sometimes too, rigorously. So there's the creative aspects, but the rational aspects of composition or the arts, because it's about always like pushing yourself towards um like consistency, making new stuff, making new stuff, but also maintaining that sense of creativity. So in many ways, a lot of people talk about this slog of being like what's it called, the writer's block or something
Yeah.
like that. And I think with proper mental health, you can bypass that. And I've met some people that have proven that immensely. Like my producer John Nathaniel, which like I consider almost an equal in, I think he's better, but almost an equal in musical composition. And it's crazy how he can just pull out ideas like it's nobody's business.
Is that
And
through practice that he's developed this, or is it some innate skill that he possesses?
it can't be innate. It's just through immense practice. What's innate about him is his tenacity and his diligence in his work. And that is something that like being in the situation of constant music has allowed him to pursue it that way. And that's also the reason why I built this little studio as well, because I want to be able to have a space where I can just develop. I remember hearing a saying where they said, it's better to change, like, don't change the toxic people in your environment, just change the environment itself, and the toxic people will go away, kind of thing. And I think that's super true. If you can just get out of any toxic situation, it just drastically changes you for the better.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So the environment is important, because if the environment is generally toxic, it's always going to be toxic. The people that are going to come in there are generally going to be toxic.
They'll be drawn to that energy.
Exactly.
Or people that could otherwise be great will become more negative because of the environment. It'll kind of like draw that out of them.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why you don't like it. You don't kind of owe a lot of these like toxic people anything either. If you find yourself a place where you can be in a like just in a great environment, the good people come with it, because that means that the environment has been established in such a way to invite good people, right? So it's just that kind of law of attraction that happens with it. And like all of these meditations, all of these concepts of mental health have always been about putting myself into better situations with better people. And in many ways, it's kind of led me to sacrifice friendships that I had for long periods, thinking that they were something amazing when in essence, they were truly toxic. So there's a lot of sacrifice, and it's tough, but the adapting to a new environment that is better is paramount, I think. So that's just it. Like these meditation retreats bring these amazing environments too. Oh,
oops.
All's good.
Just reset that camera. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go for it. Camera difficulties. Camera difficulties. All right. And we're back.
Yeah, pick it up where we left off.
Yeah. So the meditation retreats, the environments are so healthy, like the idea of just kind of being in a place that's super comforting, away from the rest of the world, to be completely introspective and practice the art of meditation. It really works. It's a reset, and in many ways, some of the people that I met there, because you meet people of all walks of life, they all go in there and sometimes even take off their vacation days off of work. Like I met a doctor that freaking takes his vacation days just to go to these meditation retreats, because for him, when he comes back, he's like re-energized. For him, that is in essence a vacation. It's a vacation that doesn't mean just lying about and relaxing. There's work to be involved, which is good. I mean, having that mentality of constantly developing and bettering yourself is good, I think, even on your kind of relaxing days.
We hear a lot about, the rise of depression and things, and a lot of it is attributed to the internet and social media. And as somebody who needs to ultimately have a presence on social media for your career, how do you circumvent these things and kind of take some of that pressure off of you of always having to, kind of use these tools to market yourself and compete for people's attention and everything. It must be kind of a struggle.
Yeah. It's contradicting for me because I mean, I have that love and hate relationship with it, right? I personally am not really good at the whole marketing aspect. And these are tools, well, now Instagram and Facebook have reached such a point where they are business tools, you know? They do have obviously their aspects of social networking and social connections with people, but I don't know, I feel um I'm just kind of trying to take these platforms with more of a grain of salt and just using them for the aspects that I do enjoy. Like I've been more so on Instagram, but I don't really post. And when I do post, it's not for likes or anything like that. I usually use like their whole kind of story setting, which is kind of like daily like what's going on in the life of
Little
Brandon.
slice of life type
Exactly.
posts.
And for me, it's way more fun. It's way more engaging. The amount of communication with people is fun, and I think that's what makes it super. Like that's what I enjoy about it. You know, like um, I do find myself kind of sometimes reclusing a lot, either for musical purposes or just because I'm a fairly introverted person. So I mean, like,
Which it's hard to tell sometimes because like the way that you present yourself quite often it gives the
well,
opposite impression of somebody who's introverted.
that's the thing. I mean, well, you know me how I am when I'm just casual. That's the thing. It's when I'm at a party or when I'm at an environment, a social environment, I'm going to kind of go with the flow of it. I've kind of grew up to be like, hey, you got to say hello. You got to kiss everybody on the cheek when you meet them at your parties and stuff, or friend parties, family parties. What am I saying? Point is, I grew up knowing that like whenever I go to a party, I have to I have to at least greet
There's
everybody or
certain
something like
social
that.
behaviors, conventions that you follow, and I guess it's instilled
Exactly.
by your family
That's
and
it.
everything. It's a cultural thing as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where that comes from. And generally that kind of greeting, that introduction to people makes it way easier for you to ease in to a crowd and ease into a social gathering or social environment. So after I do that, I'm pretty good, you know, but there are points where I need like a break. So I'll disappear for like 15 to 30 minutes and nobody will know where I went. I won't even know where I went. I'll just go into like a corner or outside or something and just kind of take a breather, regain my energy, come right back in. So I mean, like it comes with I'm not the Energizer bunny, if anything, you know.
Well, you do a good job of
Thank you,
faking it sometimes,
thank you.
especially during shows, Mister Charisma.
So shows is a whole nother ball game. At that point, it's just like I don't know. I just feel like being an idiot, and that's just how it is. It's like, hey, I got this whole stage. Might as well be an idiot about it.
Well, it must be something that's within you that is just waiting to come out,
Mm,
and then like on
yeah,
stage you have the opportunity to just show this different side of
that's
you.
it. I mean, I used to always be nervous for like concerts when I was a kid, and I think my way of kind of fighting it was through humor. So, yeah.
So outside of the meditation stuff,
Mm.
what are some of the other aspects of mental health that you practice or that might be important to you or that you recommend that other people consider, embracing in their own lives?
Um, being social in general, in any aspect of the word, like, um, even if it's like to the degree of just speaking to people online, there's a certain sense of development that you get as a human from spending time with other humans. So if you kind of find yourself reclusing, it's you got to try your best to just get back up. And if there's people around that can help bring you up, that's even better, right?
I know it's something that you've spoken about doing in the past, like pushing yourself to be more outgoing and approach people that you wouldn't otherwise, as kind of like an exercise in being more social.
Yeah.
And it's something that's super interesting to me, especially with the time of year that we're in right now, because we're wrapping up 2019. New Year's, everybody is coming up
Resolutions.
with goals for themselves,
Yeah.
resolutions and stuff like that. And I think that it's super important to find ways to develop and push yourself in new directions, like around, like throughout the entire year, not
Yeah.
just when the new year comes.
Exactly.
And I know that you've done stuff, with some of your friends, like, making a goal to go out and talk to X number of strangers in a day or something like that, which is an interesting way of kind of pushing yourself to develop
Yeah.
in a way.
Challenges. I
Yeah.
mean, it was something I grew up doing back in college. Um, Me and my friends, we were really into social dynamics and social development, more pertaining to girls at the time. Well, to be
That's pretty
fair,
good motivation to go out
yeah,
and talk to people.
it's not a bad idea. Um, it kind of got a little creepy though, so we kind of stopped that. But the intention was heartfelt. It was honest. It was because for us, we grew up in high school with a lot of like social anxieties towards girls, and I guess my kind of group was there. And I mean, I don't know if you know anything about the whole incel thing or any of that stuff,
No,
but
enlighten me.
okay, so incels are online, well, people online that no, not people online. What am I saying? Incels are people that practice the act of not spending time with girls in general, mostly guys, or not spending time with people of the opposite sex, usually due to situations that push them to that point,
Okay.
And it's usually not, it doesn't come with a positive light, the idea of being an incel. And um, the thing with that is that if we took any other path and potentially didn't try this act of kind of like social dynamics and social development, we could have possibly been those type of guys where we're just online typing about how much we hate women and stuff like that, and end up screwing ourselves over because we're just kind of pushing ourselves down, thinking, oh, we can never get any girls. Oh, we can, and then at the same time, not pushing ourselves to get any girls, and it can get pretty toxic.
Okay, so these are basically just like jaded and bitter people who haven't had any luck with relationships, so they are driven to the extreme where they kind of don't want to have anything to do with women
in
anymore.
general, I mean, there's probably a spectrum to it,
Yeah.
but
Well, like all things.
yeah. So, like, obviously, I don't want to just generalize it, but I mean, usually there's a bad connotation with it, and the surface level understanding of being an incel has bad connotation to it. So, I mean, I'm super grateful that like me and my friends, we made it an effort to go and try to learn how to communicate, because that was always the biggest issue. And even now it still creeps up in its own weird way, but I'm learning to just be myself, and just be like, hey, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Isn't
It
that
is
the
what it
best thing
is.
to do? I mean, you don't want to fool somebody into being attracted to, a character that is not
Yeah.
who you really are, right?
But that's the thing, right? It's that when we would sometimes put these girls on like pedestals in our head, we couldn't help but not be ourselves. Like we would just turn different. We'd almost become kind of hopeless and helpless. And that's what sucks, because then at that point it's like, well, the lack of confidence in yourself doesn't really promote, like you as to be as even like a good partner for somebody. A lot of people just want to have that sense of confidence in a relationship, to know that they can trust one another for anything and everything that they have to do. So, like that kind of development socially over the years has really been like a big, big thing for me. Even with the few like relationships that I've been in, I like to think I've been pretty decent. I know there were some points where I wasn't the best, but the point is, you live and learn, right?
Well, I know that you're a good guy at heart, so.
Thank you.
And for the record, I think that any girl would be lucky to have Brandon. Let me just put that out there. But it's interesting because I'm kind of an oddity in the sense that I never really had to deal with the dating world because, my wife Amanda we've been dating since high school. So it's kind of my first girlfriend, and just lasted all the way through till now. So I haven't been exposed to that world, which sounds to me to be kind of ruthless.
Dude, you are an oddity. I don't know how you pulled it off, to be fair, but it's amazing. I mean, like, usually there's a bad connotation with like the whole high school sweetheart thing, right?
Yeah.
Usually a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't end well, or oh, you guys kind of move into things too fast or something. But I mean, look at you. You did it perfectly, you know? In my opinion, you
Yeah.
did it perfectly. And you now are in this an amazing position where you have this absolutely wonderful wife, which you've developed with over the years. It's like she's not even just your wife, she's like the other half of you, you know? Whereas a lot of us, we're trying to look for that other half, you know? And that's what sucks because we can't find it that easy.
Well, the reality is that at the end of the day, if you want to have a long-term relationship with somebody, you're not just you don't need to just find a partner. You need to become best friends with somebody,
Yeah,
and that's how it lasts.
exactly.
So, I guess we were just fortunate. And don't get me wrong, like we went through a lot of hard things together, and it wasn't always great. But we came out the other side of these, tribulations
That's it.
stronger, which is which is what you need to do.
That's
You
it.
can't let tough situations break you. And you know what? If it was, they say opposites attract.
Hmm.
I think
What happened?
that's kind of what helped us get through because um, we kind of complement each other in a way where, one of our strengths compensates for the other one's weaknesses.
Right.
So, whatever we're struggling with, generally the other one can help out in some way.
Well, that's it. You guys cover all bases that way. That works. That totally works. Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, and it's cool, you guys have that mentality of if it ain't like if it's broken, you try to fix it together, Whereas a lot of people now it's that the moment something is broken in the relationship, they're like, "Oh, I'm out." They
Well, does that
kick.
have does that tie back into social media too with dating apps and things like that and the kind of
The dynamic of it,
quick
yeah.
turnaround that you can have, like, oh, if I'm not satisfied immediately with this person, I'll just continue swiping until I find the next person that I
Yeah.
find attractive and give it a shot. People don't have the same sort of um patience, I guess, when it comes to giving someone a chance.
Yeah, no, I think that's true because like even like the way we consume media or consume a lot of things is very fast paced
Yeah.
now, like with posts, just scrolling through posts up and down and until we're satisfied and move on. And I think that's probably even the case now with like apps like Tinder and other things like that, where you're literally swiping to the next idea, the next one, the next one. And it, it, it kind of creates this distance, this lack of human connection. And what sometimes even happens is when you do get, say, for example, like a match or something with somebody else, you treat that match with so much more value because you've been swiping for freaking, eons or something like that. And obviously it depends on, I guess, the general attractiveness of the person and all that. There's a whole marketing science even to how you promote yourself on these things.
Well, the law of attraction is a powerful thing.
That's it. The best way is always to join good environments, good social circles, meet good people, and do it like face to face, And I think in an interesting way, what would be after millennials? Gen X or Gen Z?
Gen Z or Gen? Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you.
Bah, Gen Z, I think it is. I think Gen X is previous.
Yeah.
So Gen Z, they grew up in a world just completely enveloped in technology and the internet, For them, they're accustomed to this mentality and this state of everything kind of passing through, information going in so quickly, and going out so quickly.
And like immediate satisfaction.
Exactly. But I think also because of it, they do appreciate the value of a longer, full connection with people. So I do find like a lot of these younger like adults and stuff like that, they're when they have these deep connections with people, they're deep, and it's almost like it's not like they have just one deep connection or one deep relationship with somebody. Sometimes they have like these interesting kind of like more in depth or wackier relationships with people, you know, like all of these different terms coming out, like being in a throuple with people, like a relationship, or like just having this emotional relationship or a sexual relationship with somebody else. It's like there's a lot more divide. It's not like one person kind of houses it all nowadays for a lot of the younger generation.
More flexibility.
Exactly. There's a lot more kind of fluidity in it, and hey, it's cool. I mean, you can kind of look at it as, I get emotional support or an emotional relationship from this person, so I'll go to that person. But if I need something more sexual, I go to this person. So they have this sense of genuineness to them, you know? Because I mean, like on these platforms too, there's so many different individuals like presenting themselves as these very unique individuals as well, that it's more encouraging for them to just be themselves, you know? I went to like a kind of younger house party with like younger kids, I guess, like more like in the 19, 18 range, 20 range. And the amount of just unique people there, just how they dressed, how they presented themselves, how they were, was kind of uplifting in a weird way, because they all came from something, they're all going somewhere different, and everybody's okay with it. It's not like they attracted like the same kind of crowd where everybody's wearing the same kind of clothing, has the same mentalities, the same thoughts. There's actual like divisive arguments and good conversation to have with these people, because they have their beliefs, you know?
I'm not sure how much of that is an age thing and how much of it is just the type of circles that you find yourself in tend to be with these very unique creative types.
That could
You
be
know,
too.
I think that has something to do with it, because like there isn't a huge age difference between you and I. It's like what,
No,
4 years or something. And
no, not at
as
all.
we get older, it becomes less and less significant.
Yeah, no,
It
for sure.
seems. Um, but yeah, I find that you and a lot of your friends are very different from myself and my friends, not because of our ages, but just because I guess certain types of people attract certain types of people, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, being in a super, I guess, artsy realm and everything,
Yeah.
I'm more prone to meeting, I guess, more wackier people. But I mean, like my core group of friends have a similarity to yours, where it's like they have like these certain things that you guys all love to talk about. Like I know, like you guys, you have like those fantasy football games and stuff like that, or you'll all get together probably to like watch a game or something like that, play video games together. My core group of friends is the same thing, except they're kind of, their world of sports is more like mixed martial arts, and they love that stuff. They'll just randomly start rolling and doing jujitsu on the floor of any house that we invite each other to, you know? And those are my core group of friends. I guess they're mechanical engineers, most of them, and they're all super cool, crazy people. Super smart guys. But then yeah, no, for sure I have like a bunch of other core friends that are like very different, more artsy, more like musically inclined and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Once again, I guess I'm only influenced by what I see, right? So that's from what I understand, how I feel like I guess this generation is kind of going along.
How's your group of friends been, I guess, supportive to you in your, I guess, aspirations in music? Because I know that for me, I tend to keep things kind of separate. You know,
Mm,
like I have um, my different worlds, I guess. You know, home, family life, work life, friend life, music life.
yeah,
I kind of treat them as their own
own
little
entities.
little entities that don't often overlap very much. But I'm curious, is it like the same with you, or is there a lot more overlap between them?
There's a lot of overlap. I'm not really good at kind of organizing or differentiating my group of friends, and I always try to stick to the friends that I know can kind of work in any situation. So like my core group, they're super supportive of what I do. I mean, even if we start to kind of go our own separate ways. I think the fact that when we do finally come back to see each other after like a few months and be like, oh, hey, this is what we've been doing, this is what everybody's going through, we all just kind of learn to reappreciate the fact that, oh shit, we're just growing up, we're just doing our own thing. And it's humbling too to know that like they'll never judge me for anything at this point. And all of this judging that has occurred potentially is in the past, you know. So like one of my best friends, we kind of just went through so much and a lot of trying to mature and being confident and trying to be like strong men, super supportive of our friends and everything like that. And eventually, as some of our kind of like ideologies really started to divide, it didn't change anything. It just kind of, we just respected it no matter what, kind of like unspoken, you know? So it's super cool, and I love hearing about like where they're going and everything like that. So the relationships and the friendships, they always kind of they're always kind of intertwined, you know. So because we have that urge to see what's going on with everybody, you know. So yeah.
Cool, man. Well, listen, thank you for doing this with me. I'm still new to the world of podcasting, so this is
Hey,
I'm still developing and trying to, figure out exactly what I'm doing. But you were someone that I, thought would make for an interesting conversation, and I
oh
think it
yeah,
did. And I'd
thank you.
love to have you on again in the
I would
future.
love to be back. I
Um,
once and kind of just to kind of full circle to the point that I said before, I am super curious to see how this goes in like a year from now or the next year, you know, to come back and be like, oh wow, so this is what's changed. This is how much it's grown,
yeah,
you know?
well, the part of the philosophy that I've kind of adopted for this is, they say that you got to sometimes you got to start before you're ready. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I 100% agree with that.
just jumping in, creating something, even if it's rough, even if you know that it doesn't meet your personal standards or the vision that you have for it. That's how you grow, by putting something out there, saying this is where I'm starting, and then just making it better every time. So
Exactly.
that's what I'm going to try to do with this. And I think just by having more focused conversations, with people, will help,
Yeah, no,
because
totally.
we can always ground it
Yeah.
in something. So that's why I really wanted to talk to you about, the creativity and mental health thing, because it's something that I find really important for myself. And I find that you're kind of like an authority on that as far as people that I know in my life.
Thank you.
So yeah, I appreciate you being open and honest with me about that.
Dude, it's my absolute pleasure, man.
So what are some things that you would like to plug as we finish up? What's going
Mm.
on with you that you want people to know about?
So 2020, I'm going to be releasing most likely a few tracks under my solo stuff. Obviously, with Chair Warriors, with us, we're working on an album, and I'm just putting a lot of effort into music. If you guys want to just keep on following and see where I go with it, I guess you can check me out on Instagram on Brandon Mig Music, or you can check us out on Chair Warriors Band, right? Or Chair Warriors.
Oh, we're on all the social medias,
Yeah, we're all on the social medias,
including MySpace.
the dreaded MySpace.
Go check out our MySpace.
Yeah,
It's our
so
most up-to-date platform.
that's it. Type in Chair Warriors, type in Brandon Mig, you'll find us, no problem. And yeah, just come join, write comments, talk to us about anything. We're more than willing to answer and respond and just talk about all this stuff. So yeah, come check out my shenanigans on the Instas and see where my stupid daily life kind of goes.
I love following your stupid daily life. It's very entertaining.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rob.
And yeah, we'll do this again soon.
Oh, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.